Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Sitch Show. I'm Ashley Bitts here. I'm gonna be hosting today's show. I'll probably get cut off a lot, but that's fine because that's what we do. Today we are gonna do a lot of Q&A, so more interactive with all of you, asking questions, shooting the shit about daily events, and then obviously doing our regular thing. So a little bit more loose today, not as structured, which is the story of my life these days. But anyways, I'd like to welcome Matthew Stapley and Alain Jean-Baptiste, the other two part of the... Where are you guys? They're slowly coming in. There they are.
Hello.
There they are. I gotta move my camera up a bit.
Sup?
Cut my wonderful flow off. There we go.
Nice. Very nice.
Right?
Like those chip head things. Very nice.
Chip head? Is it a
Chip
French
head.
term? Oh, I heard chip head. Like, is it a French term? What is that? So there's got a lot of kind of like talk about and shoot the breeze about too. There's a lot has happened in the last 7 days since we've been on here. It's been it's been a week since we've been on here. Biden's in, nothing, no crazy shit went down, and he went in there and started making decisions.
Yeah, like 15 in one day.
I know. So. And even the travel stuff. Did you guys? So I didn't know this, but it's not a shocker. But Trump hadn't done anything COVID stuff for like 2 months.
Yeah.
He just left it.
No, he was looking at his elections and trying to get lawyers to overturn the election.
Yeah.
So he was quite busy, actually, except not doing what is
focusing on the stuff that didn't necessarily matter. But who am I? Yeah, so a lot of that's been going on, but there's also been a lot of heaviness going around because we're in another lockdown and there's no real tell on, my dogs are happy. Kiwi wants to be part of the podcast. So, what was I going to say? Yeah, there's no real tell of like when we're going to kind of go back to any kind of normalcy. It just seems like things are getting worse. I saw a restaurant in the Orleans area closed the other day as I had to pull over and looked up and saw all the signs were off the restaurant, which was
Kelsey's. Wow, that's big. I love their wings.
I remember Kelsey's from when I was a kid.
I used to love their wings, I guess.
Right?
That's that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is really unfortunate, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that, unfortunately, as well. Like going forward, I don't think that's the first or last big chain closure that we're going to see. It just
hits home when it's somewhere you actually go to.
Yeah.
Yeah. No kidding.
Oh, I won't be going there anymore. And they had just made huge renovations the year before, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, recently. So I think the other thing that's not talked about, though, and thank God we have this platform, is the inability of commercial landlords to have a heart to work with landlords. Like seriously, I'm dealing with one right now.
I only know one landlord for commercial that has been good. All the other ones, bad. From here all the way down Toronto or, in the US, Phoenix.
Like, I will flat out say that Great West Life, who's one of my commercial landlords, has been phenomenal. They have been amazing. They've done a lot for me. I haven't even had to really ask for anything, and they've just really put their hand out to me and other tenants, which has been great. And I have another landlord who I'm a big fan of being proactive. I don't like to be reactive. So with one of my locations, I'm trying to not necessarily renegotiate my rent, but kind of, just so that in the long run, in the summertime, when the funding from the government stops, we'll be in a better seat because we've obviously lost a lot of our member base and our personal training has gone down. So we've taken a pretty large hit. We aren't charging, so we've stopped our membership dues too. So we're still having to pay rent and utilities, but nothing's coming in. So I'm trying to be proactive and working a rent decrease with this one landlord, and they do not care at all.
It's really unfortunate to see that that's the way it's panning out. And I was thinking the other day, because if you think about all the things that have happened in the world, like in the last couple of years, like there was the fires in Australia, and then like the Amazon was on fire, and then now the pandemic, and all these crazy political things. I just get this feeling like the world is being given the most beautiful wake-up call opportunity, and we are just, as a whole, just like not taking it. But
Yeah.
you know, I do think there are plenty of people that are, but as a group, as a society, you know, there's a very big division that's becoming very visible. And on one hand, you have, you know, people who have listened to that. They've gone within themselves. They're doing the hard work on themselves and all of that to try to make their own life, but also the world around them a better place. And then we have this whole other like sketch zone over here. I don't know what else to call it, a sketch zone. And you know, those people are they're clinging as groups, they're clinging to the old paradigm and the old way of doing things and the old way of believing and knowing and, you know, whatever, functioning within our world. And I think what we're going to see next over the next, I'm going to predict it as 3 years, is this sort of conversation between people who have essentially become freed with as much as possible within the broken system, and then people that, you know, are still clinging to the old structures. And I think we're going to begin to see as early as this year, I think, significant changes within that conversation. I feel like there's going to be people who are more free are going to feel like they want to listen less to this sketch show, which is different than the Sitch show, just to be clear. You know, so I think that we are going to notice quite a big, almost like a paradox and a rebalancing that's going to happen. And unfortunately, you know, I think it's going to be a challenge, especially for Group B.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people aren't taking advantage, like you said, they're not taking advantage of even how horrible this situation has been and continues to be really, really shitty. But people need to start looking at the other side of the coin here. Yeah. There's a lot that we can do as humanity, but even just for yourself, looking within to make a lot of positive changes. But people are stuck in the dark, and it's like this inability to do better for themselves during a hard time.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, like one of the biggest things, because, you know, if we look at it from a spiritual perspective, you know, everything is in constant evolution, but we're constantly evolving towards the highest point of light, the highest frequency. And that doesn't mean that we all become the same. What it means is that every single person on this planet has an ultimate potential or an ultimate space or an ultimate being, right, which is free of anything that is a lack of oneness and a lack of togetherness. Because the higher you move up through vibrational dimension, the more one everything becomes, even though it still maintains its separate, you know, like thoughts and personality and all of that. We do reach this sort of point of light that we're all connected to, where what is good for one of us is ultimately good for all of us. And so if we're constantly evolving into that space over millennia, you know, I think that anything that creates separation or people wanting to take from others so they have more themselves without it being in any way balanced, I think we're going to see those things fall off. And in the next 20 or 30 years, I think we're really going to notice big changes with that, where greed it just has no place anymore. And I think that doesn't mean it's gone. I think it means that more and more people will be going towards that what is good for one is good for all space, and leaving things like selfishness behind slowly, but I think it's going to happen. And unfortunately, one of the most big experiences any of us can have that bring us to that place, unfortunately, is a rock bottom. You know, when we get to a place of complete surrender, then we have removed or let go of all of the me stuff, and we have created more of a we situation. And you know, I think that the universe is providing us with many beautiful opportunities for that rock bottom, and we're just not taking it yet. And I would hate to see it need to continue in intensity building for us to reach that as a humanity. Now I'm going to get off my soapbox or loofah sponge box or bath bomb box or whatever you want to call it.
Soap opera.
I like this comment from Karen Lemaire where it says, "I try hard to stay positive, but it's been so long." Like a comment to that I say is, well, what are you continuously looking at? What are you filling your day with? Are you filling your day with media? Are you filling your day with people that are maybe more negative? Why is it hard to stay positive? Because it's been so long. What are you doing with your time? And a lot of us will get soaked up in the media.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are facing a lot of isolation now. This self-isolation is really getting to some people. I mean, mental health for kids is going up. Mental health for, you know, suicide is going up.
It's crazy.
Here. I think, as Matthew said, we're moving more and more towards, and if we take it from the future creates the present instead of the other way around, or, in terms of one creating one another at the same time, we're getting more and more in terms of, as I mentioned before, and Matthew just reinstated, is that more of a new way of cooperating and realizing that, everybody has an impact, no matter how small. And I think COVID reminds us of, how one person gets sick and all of a sudden the whole world is getting sick, all the economy is going. And it's about dominion. The more we start to recognize that we have our own self-worth. And I was comparing the last show, when I put those two pyramids of self-destruction and self-actualization, I think it's an opportunity for people to just stay home and, start doing the work on themselves, recognizing what they need to heal, recognizing, that you consciously create your own success, and that, reality is, again, an illusion we work with as spiritual beings on this planet. I mean, now there's a mathematical equation saying that reality is an illusion. So, somebody figured it out somewhere. I'm not going to go into that, but the idea here is, it's been so long that we're isolated, or we're not able to, share as we used to share due to things that we're used to, that certain of those things are going away, and some people haven't grieved yet. And so staying positive would be in terms of, getting yourself still some goals on a weekly basis, probably daily basis, weekly basis. For some people, it's just hard to get up in the morning. I mean, I used to get up at 5 and be at the gym, and now I get up at, I don't know,
now you can't go to the gym
because I have to do homeschooling, and I can't go to the gym. And so I have my own gym here, and I'm like, you know what? I'll just walk, or I'll just do, I don't know, 300 sit-ups. That'll be it. And then I'll do the weights, but at the same time, it's not like, going to your gym, Ash.
Not the same.
It's very different.
It's very different. Very different.
But again, people, it's a new norm. It'll change also. There's less Twitter going on or other things. So that'll help people stay a bit more focused at the same time. But in terms of staying positive, I think it's goals instead of making a monthly or every 3 months, or try to get something in terms of weekly. And again, at the end of the night, I do this with my son, and I suggest most people do it, is find 5 things you're grateful for. Okay. It could be as much as we have food on the table, or as, we're healthy, or our family's safe, or business was good today, or had a good day at school, or, studying or career wise, or, a friend of yours was sick and now they're doing better. So in terms of that, to balance it a little bit more. And again, like Ashley mentioned, if you read the news 24/7, or always on your phone checking the latest, it's going to get to you. Just always on the phone, first of all, is not good, but just reading the news and always constantly being bombarded, there's going to be less probably of drama, because certain people left far away. Hopefully.
Did you see the meme where someone took so Trump and his wife walking into the helicopter for their last flight home, and then someone took the helicopter and actually turned it into a big dump truck, and they walked into the back of a dump truck?
No, but I can imagine.
The memes are ridiculous. They're so good.
Juanita,
but someone mentioned Bernie on here.
Yeah, it was
the Bernie ones.
Juanita asked me if I'm going to be knitting some of Bernie's mittens. I should. No, did you see the RuPaul's?
Oh yeah, I saw the mittens this morning.
Did you see the RuPaul's Drag Race Bernie mittens one?
No.
I didn't watch that show yet.
It is so. Elaine, get on it.
I know. Sorry.
You're the token straight guy on this podcast, and you need to get all of the RuPaul happening, or Ashley
watch it tonight.
Ashley's gonna come and beat you up when the lockdown's over.
No kids.
I can't get into RuPaul. I've tried to watch some of my friends watch it. I've met him, but I can't get into his stuff.
You met RuPaul? Get out, man. That's so
in Halifax.
Cool. I'm so jealous.
Oh my God. That's so cool. It's like meeting, I don't know, Elton John.
He
or
was
something.
doing a show in like a
drag
dive
queen?
bar in Halifax. It was great.
Oh,
That's
interesting. I
amazing.
remember when he started his career, so I thought that was pretty cool.
That was before I was born, LA. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, everybody knows I'm getting 50 this year now. Okay.
Yeah, I still don't
This
believe
month,
that.
sorry, this month.
I still
Actually,
don't
it's like
believe you're turning
for the
50.
next week.
Yeah, you don't look 50, like at all.
No.
Okay, what do we got here? Oh,
That'll be
another
some-
thing. Speaking of Biden and one person leaving, I remember predicting Julie Payette would either lose her job, but actually she quit, which is our governor general, which was really
Yeah.
bad.
She was a
I
huge
know that
bully.
because I know people that worked there, and she was like terrible. And I remember I looked and I told my friend, I said, "Listen, she's gone." What do you mean? I'm telling you, it's going to be bad. And then yesterday we learned, she quit. She was asked to quit. So,
But the real question is, did she do the queen wave on her way out the door? Like, that's what I want to know, because she has a lot of ego. I'm pretty sure our queen would have been pissed to find out like
when she
what she was
I hope she
doing.
doesn't read that report, because I've heard some stuff, and wow.
What kind of
That's
work
one
did she actually
person.
do?
Imagine one person from a story I heard.
we
But,
should
no. Some people were there for 20 years and they quit their job, and like 150 people worked there, I think.
yeah.
And I think 50 or more quit.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a
She
lot.
hasn't been there for long. No, she's very disrespectful. I mean,
Yeah, apparently her and her assistant both.
her
were
assistant's worse.
Yeah, but we should
worse.
we should probably tell the American people who are watching what a governor general is. So we have a queen, right?
Or even some Canadians.
The
We're
queen
still
of the
under the queen thing.
Yeah, the queen of the Commonwealth, right? Which is like Canada, England, Australia, Bermuda, and like a whole bunch of other countries. So we all share a monarch. And so the governor general, their job is to be the queen's representative in Canada for the Canadian Governor General, and Australia has one, and every other country of the Commonwealth has a Governor General, and so they're kind of like the Queen's representative in the country, and so they do really important things, like they sign things into law as if they were the Queen, and they also give medals out and celebrate things. It's kind of like it is kind of. Yeah, like in a sense, it's like PR job for the Queen, like the Queen's spokesperson, but they also do other very official government things. But that's what a governor general is. And our latest one apparently was a not so nice lady. And so she quit. And yeah, I will give it to her, though. She owned why she was quitting. She didn't just walk out the door quietly. She said what I did was wrong and left. And so I can give her that. I've got all day for people who change, right? Who transform things, who can own their crappy sides. Like, I've got all day for that. What I don't have all day for is people who pretend they don't have that and then hurt people and then gaslight them. So, it sounds to me like on some level she's, had like a thought.
Yeah.
You can see when she wrote when she was leaving, she had to write something, and there's no emotion in it, like nothing. It's like, okay,
maybe
bye, everyone.
Space took all of her personality away from her.
Yeah. I mean, but think about how stressful of a job, and that's
She's an astronaut.
It's no excuse. It's no excuse.
I know, but don't get a job you're not supposed to be in. I mean, please.
Yeah.
I understand she's an astronaut, which is phenomenal. One of the first women Canadian astronaut, really. But I mean, from going to to space station or space and then crashing down from losing the governor general's position and making it look bad. That's
yeah, but there's like a lot. There's a lot of astronauts, Lane. Like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if in 20 years we find out Oprah has been to space.
I thought you were going to say because I'm an alien. So that's pretty good.
I mean, you are definitely an alien. There's no doubt about that.
That's facts. See, and I would also talk about sports today, about how it is to watch hockey with no fans, but both of you do not watch hockey. So I'll just come out here and say it's interesting watching a hockey game where it's always a Canadian team playing a Canadian team, because they had to start a Canadian division because of COVID. But there's no fans, but whoever is doing this sound is is phenomenal because it actually makes it sound like there's fans cheering during certain parts of the play.
Oh, that's cool.
It's pretty neat. So it's like it's different, but it's not like completely different.
I remember going to a Senators game, and my friend, I bought the ticket for like $200. I thought, he says, well, who you bring? I said, I thought it was just for me. So I call people and say, listen, I have a free ticket. So I call one of my clients who's a fanatic with that stuff. So I'm there and I'm watching. I always remember how stupid I'm like waiting for the person to talk, right? And the goal, and then he passes to this one and that one. And there's no sound, no music, no nothing. They're just playing hockey, and I'm watching and I'm waiting for this guy to talk. And I look at her, I said, hey, listen, do you, where's the guy talking? And she looks at me and she says, you're kidding me, right? I said, no, the guy talking, like explaining, like this. She says, we're at the game. Nobody does that here. They just do that on radio. She's like, are you kidding me? Are you serious? He said, only you
so
could have somebody
so what
like
you're
that.
saying is you're going to be that old man that sits in the stands with his earbuds and his little radio, listening to the play-by-play on the radio while actually watching the game.
Yes,
that's you.
I didn't even think about that. That's a brilliant idea. That's so smart.
Old people do that all the time.
I have a client. Her husband is actually one of the members. She's her husband is in the Senators. So I might go when it's safe to go again. I'd like to see it, but I'll do that. That's pretty cool. Thanks. I never thought about that.
What is this, Teresa Robertson? I'm boycotting hockey. Grr. And it's the first time in years that Canada plays Canadian teams. I think was good for the goose is for the gander. And if our children or our adults can't play hockey, I'm not supporting the NHL this year, but go Leafs go.
Nice.
I mean, I get it, but you also have to understand is the hockey teams have to stay within their own bubbles and they can't really go anywhere. And it's not like they're flying around the whole country. There's satellite arenas that they have to play in. So like it's frustrating. Don't get me wrong. I love pond hockey. I love putting the skates on, grabbing my stick and just, shooting the puck around with my friends. And we can't do that. I get that. But the way the NHL is doing it is actually really strict.
Yeah, they're in permanent quarantine, pretty much.
Yeah.
I like the ball hockey. That's fun.
They barely see their family.
They don't, not unless they live with their family. Leading up to it, from what I heard, they have to, like, it's really, really strict. Like they don't see anybody through the season because of it. I mean, they've really made it like the bubble. So like the only people they interact with are pretty much are the people that are their team members, and then their coaches and medics and all of those people, I guess. But
and the coaches, you see the coaching staff in the back, they're all wearing masks too.
Yeah.
Which is different from football, because you've watched the NFL, they actually allow some people in the stands. It's limited, but they're allowing somewhat of a crowd into the NFL.
Yeah.
And their rules are a little bit more lax. So, yeah. I mean, I give it to the NHL for still sticking it out, but I don't know. I think I would disagree on the boycotting, because that means you're kind of boycotting the players, and that's their livelihood at the same time.
Okay, so football is FHL? No, L, what's that?
NFL.
And no, NFL. Okay, and then baseball is what one?
Baseball.
Don't they have BSL? No. No, I'm serious. So NHL is the hockey, NFL is the football. What do you call baseball?
MLB.
Major League Baseball.
Major League. Okay.
Even I know that. I even know that.
I don't watch sports. I play them, but I don't watch. I don't watch them. I only play the hockey with a ball because I can't wear skates. I can't do it. It's too cold.
This is why you're the honorary gay.
Yeah, true. Like I might even have more sports stuff in this house than you have in yours, and that's terrifying. Actually,
I have a baseball mitt. I have a really good baseball mitt that a player gave me.
I have to call. Hold on, I gotta call my mom out here. My mom just said World Series. Mom, that is not what baseball's called. Baseball is MLB.
Even your mom doesn't know. So
Major League Baseball. World Series is where you end up if you're really good.
Talking about you. I didn't know.
Oh boy.
CFL, Canadian.
You should go have dinner with my mom, LA.
Okay. I know the football one because I have clients that play professional football, and my
CFL or NFL?
half brother actually went to college in the U.S. for football, I believe.
Do you know what he played in? Was it like
College
do you know,
football, but he had a sponsorship
do you know what tier?
who?
Nothing. Just being a dick.
No, my brother my father got remarried, so his son went to play in the U.S. in a college, so he got a.
Oh shit, where'd I go?
Okay, somebody mentioned the Keystone Pipeline. Yes, unfortunately,
Biden kibosh that.
that was one of his first orders of the day.
Yeah.
And I think that affected thousands of employees here in
Alberta.
In Alberta. I meant Canada, but Alberta.
Yes, I'll be more specific.
Thank you so
Like
much.
sports,
Very
I'll
kind.
be more specific.
Thank you. Now I'll learn geography better. So yeah, and I don't think it's going to change. To be honest with you, as a client asked me this morning, if it's going to change or anything, I don't think they're going to change that and go to war. I don't think it's right now. I think
it'll obviously it's going to negatively affect jobs here in Canada, but I don't even know if I was a big fan of the Keystone Project, to be honest.
Well, I think honestly, I don't think from what the research I've made afterwards is, I don't think it changed that much because that's been an old project. So I think people are going
created
more
a lot of problems though.
Energies. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But, in terms of that, I think it was sort of, I'm surprised they didn't expect that, to be honest with you. But then again, at this point, I don't want to be mean, but in terms of leadership, I'm a bit disappointed in some of the most leaders of the world with everything that's going, and not for having any foresights which is good for us. I mean, that's our job.
They should just hire us, all of them.
Exactly. All right.
I don't know. Like, I don't think it was a bad thing that they canceled it. That pipeline was destroying communities as well. Like, the indigenous communities were suffering so badly. Nature is suffering so badly. I mean, I think at some point they're just at some point they're just going to end up creating synthetic fuels anyway, because there's not, like, for oil to be made in the ground, it takes thousands and millions of years to happen, and when we run out, and I actually feel like we're going to get to that sooner than what most people are aware of.
Well, more people are buying cars that are electrical, right? If you look at the numbers for Europe, they're up, I think, over 60%.
Yeah. My thing too with this is like, and Pierre, what the heck? I can never pronounce his last name. He's with the Conservative Party. Love this guy. He's very outspoken. But like, one thing I've been questioning for a long time, and I know there's a lot of politics involved, but why are we not only we're making our own oil in Alberta, but why do we not refine our own oil and keep the money here in Canada, which will create more jobs and more stability for our country? Why are we selling our oil to be refined somewhere else in another country only to be bought back?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's just crazy, and yes, it does create job losses, and that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but I think that the damage that was being done by the pipeline, like, again, is very powerfully unfortunate as well.
I think what is this? Eve Crum Marty said, I bet, Matthew, if you lost your job, what would you say? Lost your job with what? With the Keystone Pipeline?
I mean, I have lost jobs before. I've gotten so yeah. I mean, it sucks, right? Like, don't get me wrong, it completely sucks.
And no job is secure at the end of the day.
No job is secure. No, never.
Like, my businesses are shut down. I own my businesses and they're still shut down. So like, you just make do.
Yeah, and it is, and right, again, it's often not about what happens to us in our life as much as what we do about what happens to us in our life. So have I lost my job before? Yes, I've lost my job before. Have I lost my health before? Yes, I've lost my health before. I mean, like, it's what we do with it, rather than what happens to us. It's, can we make it useful or not? Because at the end of the day, at any point, at any point, we will lose what we value. It doesn't matter who we are, how secure we feel we are. We will lose something that a value, whether it be a person, a relationship, a job, money, physical security, whether it be our health, whether it be our own lives, we will lose something that we believe is unlosable. And that's just the way life is. And I know that's a very depressing picture to paint, but it's also true. And so, the real part of life, the real trick, the real magic in life is deciding what we're going to do when that happens, and how are we going to allow that loss to affect us. Are we going to take it to a place of bitterness and jadedness and anger? Probably for a minute, but are we going to stay there is the real important question. And then how can we take that experience and make it useful within our own lives, but within the lives of those around us as well? And so we are ultimately always teachers of what we learn. We decide what kind of lessons we're going to teach. And that is the real separation between, are we, walking our talk spiritually, or are we not? And I've done both. So what would I say if I lost my job? Absolutely. I've lost my job. It was terrible. It was scary. I ended up on social assistance. It was not fun.
Yeah.
It's hard, there's a loss of dignity with that. But did I let that stop me? No, I did not. And I wouldn't. So
I think what he's mentioning is that, yes, people lose their job, and you have to put food on the table, as he's mentioning. But I always believe people can create new opportunities, as we've seen through the pandemic. I mean, how many people have lost their jobs around the world during this pandemic? Either due to lockdown, either due to financial distress, either due to having to stay at home with the kids and take care of family, or a sick one, or being quarantined. So in the end, nobody likes to lose their job, but at the same time, I believe in human as being resilient, and that you take it and then you work with it. And so for those that always depend, and I'm not saying that's you, but for those that actually always depend on people or government, then it's an opportunity for them also to do something new. I mean, if you look at Shopify, it's been up for, it's skyrocketed. Why? Because people decided, you know what, I can do something. I'll start my own business and then work from there. For some people, it's been an opportunity to say, you know what, it's time to me to put the nail on the coffin and go and move on to something better for myself. And there's other places, like if you look at, I believe it was asbestos, I was reading recently, in which, a whole town lost their livelihood because Thetford mine, which was, the center for asbestos, it was shut down. If everybody knows now, you can put asbestos in houses, can bring about cancer. But now they're looking at new minerals from those mines or around those mines. And, there's always new opportunities. It's just for us to find it. And I think the government, through programs that we've seen through the pandemic, probably could help them and bring about, I think there's a huge budget for renewable energies. So those opportunities there to do that also.
Yeah, no, it's true. I just got a text from our wonderful friend Maureen, who says she said, you're self-employed, Matthew. You wake up unemployed every day.
True. Yeah, when I think about it myself, when you own your own business,
you are unemployed. Yeah,
exactly. That's true. At the end of the day, if you didn't get new contracts or clients, you're like, okay. So in that sense, but I understand what he means, and it is very unfortunate for people to lose their job. But again, I believe in creating new opportunities. Again, it's going from the world of domination to dominion, in which instead of blaming or trying to control or fearing you lost control, you take the opportunity to create something new. And then go from there. Well, again, I'm not saying that it's that easy, because for some people, they might not have those opportunities. But again, it's just to recycle inside the market.
Yeah, exactly. And this I think that this is good that we're talking about this, because the other side of all of this is we can throw back to what we were talking about earlier, and that society needs to change. The system of you must, work or you don't eat. I mean, that's probably life forever. But what happens when someone loses their job? Things like that have the potential to change, where we can come together, right? We can come together and work together within our communities to make sure that even when somebody loses their job, that there's something that they can work with, something they can do to make sure there's food on their table. I think that we have the ability as a humanity to do things like that. And again, I think we're going to see that in the future more than now. But I think it's important that we look after each other as well.
You know, Tammy brought something which just reminded me the start of my career. Every big change I have ever made has come from asking myself, oh my God, what am I going to do now? So I remember when I first started my career, I had just been paralyzed for a couple of days at our general hospital here from a car accident. And a friend of mine called me and said, you know, this guy is starting a new center in Montreal with NLP and all types of new stuff to help people. Would you like to come? So I went there. I was still limping because I just started to get my body to move back. So I got the interview, and I remember my office is right there, and my secretary's there, and the woman comes, and I said, okay, come, we'll go to my office now. So as soon as she goes in, I open the door, she comes in, I close it, and I remember to this day, I'm like, God, you brought her here, you better tell me exactly what to do, because I have no clue what I'm going to do. Okay, it was my first client. And I had just been paralyzed, so I couldn't go back to work at the hospital because I was lifting everything. And I didn't want to work there anymore. But I just started in another city 2 hours away with really nothing. I was staying at my cousin's place. Luckily, she left. She stayed close. And, you know, I had to go back and forth. But I remember, like she just said, oh, my God, what am I going to do? You know, because it was NLP, you know, and this first client. So even if you study so much, the first time you have somebody and they tell you, you know, I've been beaten from relationship to relationship, and you're thinking, okay, what am I going to do now? And then it just kicks in, you know, and then I was able to help her. And then that day I'm like, wow, that was easy. I didn't even know I was psychic at the time, right? So
I think that's super cool. Speaking of psychic, I guess we should probably do some readings, eh?
Yeah, we should.
It is that time. Ashley, give us the discllaimer.
Does anybody have any for the good S thing?
What?
Just say the word. Say
good shit.
The good
we
shit.
should do good shit first, and then we'll do readings.
Correct.
All
do
right.
you have anything for the good shit? Ooh, I will have something.
Go.
So, some of you know that I have my own merch, on my own stuff, and so I have my Get Roasted stuff, and then my motivationally roasted stuff. But I just got the design done I'm doing a shirt specifically to help support the emergency responder umbrella. So it's going to have everything on there for medical, which also includes nurses, because a lot of people like paramedics, but I don't want nurses and doctors to get left out. So it's going to it has a medical symbol, but also fire, military, and police. So it's going to be a shirt dedicated to support our first responders. And then I'm currently picking out a shelter where some of the proceeds will be donated to and helps with mental health. So those are going to be up, hopefully, I'm hoping for by the weekend. So proceeds will be going to a shelter in the local area.
That's awesome. And I have some good shit. I just need to get the exact name of it. Give me one.
I have one while you're looking at it.
All right.
The World Health Organization finally declared some Africa regions, I believe, polio free. So I remember reading from Bill Gates how it was one of his initiatives for so many years with the Melinda Bill Gates Foundation, and they just declared in 2020 certain parts free from wild polio, which is one I believe is a good news. Okay, not many know people with polio, but I know it was I read a lot of the books that he suggests, and I know it was one of his main. You have to imagine this guy used to just tech stuff and a pure geek, and now he's handling stuff like the pandemic and just let go of being the chairman for Microsoft to start climate change. So you know what's coming next, right? If in 2015 he mentioned coronaviruses and pandemics, now Eddie said, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm going to go to, climate change. That's just to tell you where the next thing is coming from.
That's really cool. And I have a good shit too.
Mhm.
So Daniel John, who's a medium in the northern states, has created Heaven for the Homeless, which is a nonprofit organization that aims to support those who do not have adequate living situations, and they are striving to supply those with a safe place to reside, with necessities, while also enabling the public to provide support as well. So Daniel John is doing some very, 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 very good work. um yeah, yeah, and he created that sometime within like he announced it very recently. But I think again that's a beautiful example of how people can come together. We have something similar to that in Ottawa here called Hijinks, which is one of the most amazing, phenomenal organizations on the planet. They're a store and they help people. Like I sat there one day, and I saw them help so many people into like in an hour. I mean, it was just mind blowing to me. So if you're in Ottawa, check out Hijinks. It's downtown, and those two ladies, Karen and Lee, do the most phenomenal work, both advocacy but also living support and all of that for those without homes in our community directly. And they're amazing. They're amazing. Like if you just talk to them for 5 minutes, you will be horrified and amazed at the same time because one of them swears almost more than me, and the other.
Yes, is that possible?
Yeah, apparently it is. Yeah, no, and they're just the coolest people. Like their backstory is mind blowing. They were social workers with the Salvation Army. They saw how corrupt and broken the system was. They called this. They got fired because they started fixing things, and so these organizations weren't getting their funding from the government as easily because these two ladies were fixing problems for homeless people. And so they got fired, and they started talking about it. And then the Salvation Army tried to sue them so that they weren't able to talk about what they had seen happen. But the ladies won, and they formed Hijinks, and they basically just keep doing social work constantly. They take only enough from the store to live on, and the rest of it goes directly back to people within the community. They don't work for any other organizations. They really just do their own thing, they're just amazing. I mean, they're so inspirational. They're really
Nice.
cool. Yeah. Ah, Daniel John's here. Daniel, post your link, please.
Oh, nice.
Yelling at my dog, they keep barking on the street.
Nice.
I swear, my dogs are like the security of my street. Okay, disclaimer time. We're gonna go with the disclaimer.
All right, do it.
That time, it's the reading time. So, if you would like LA or Matthew to read one of your questions and give you some insight into something that's bothering you or connect with somebody, write a specific question and not anything for me. Please do not. This might turn into the roast show, and if any of you ever tuned into that, you know that I can be straight savage. So, please write a specific question, and then we'll pick one, or two, or three, or four.
Or
I saw one a second ago.
79.1, whatever.
I saw one a couple of seconds ago. Samantha Robb would love to hear from my brother who took his life. I would like to know if he is at peace now. What's your brother's name, Samantha, if you're still there?
See, that is a good way to write the question.
Yes, thank you. Maybe she's not there anymore.
Well, we can go back to her, but there is a delay. All right, I'm going to go to Nicole Gillespie, who says, "Will my daughter's mental health be okay?" So Nicole,
What's
as
her
I'm
name? Sorry.
Sorry. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and
No,
start.
you start, but
I'll start
the name.
Yeah, if you can provide her first name for LA. So Nicole, as I'm stepping into the energy of your daughter's energy field, the first thing that I'm seeing as I'm stepping in, there's a lot of red around her, and red to me is anxiety and it's inner tension and things like that. Not a surprise for mental health issues. The other thing that I'm getting though is that she's incredibly sensitive. I get a big open heart with her. I feel like she's constantly feeling everything, and this is going to sound weird, but they're bringing me back to really young with her, like under 10 years old, young with her, and they're showing me loss and grief grief that was misunderstood or misplaced. So I feel like, yes, there's an element of this that is, neurochemical and things like that. There's also an element to this that's very deep and very psychological. And what I got an image of was like, we all lose a family pet at one point, like something like that, which as adults, we can breathe through it, we understand it, we can overcome it. But her guides are saying that she experienced a loss at a very young age that has that sort of stayed silently within her and was a seed for the growth of this current issue. And what the issue stems around, her guides are saying, is a lack of stability, or a fear of lack of stability. Like everything at any moment could just bottom out and everything will fall apart. So there's this constant sort of hypervigilance and an on-edged vibe that I'm getting from her. I do feel like this will heal. I feel like it's already in the process for that to happen. So, she doesn't have to get onto a new path for this to heal. Her guides are saying this is actually already, like, she's already moving down that path, even though it's slow. It will be solid, and I do feel that she will be okay. So that was for Nicole Gillespie.
The answer I get is yes. But
Perfect.
It's over time. I'm not sure the age, but it seems to be over time here. Another one I have is Sherry.
Wait, Samantha came back. She said that her brother's name is Alan.
Oh, just a second. I'm sorry, what was the original question? I forgot already.
I believe she was asking.
Yeah, it's okay. They're telling me if her brother is okay. The answer is yes. Sorry, I'm just relaying the information here. Yes, the answer is yes. Also mentioning that he didn't suffer. First of all, my sympathies, but I'm not sure what I'm hearing is that he didn't suffer. So I'm not sure what he passed away from. The answer is yes. He does look over you also. You're going to be getting a message from here. I believe they said 3 weeks from now. Sorry, that's about 3 days. So probably next week, you should have some sign with them. I believe 3 days is like, I'm getting a Monday, so I'm not sure if that's exactly 3 days. If I'm looking at the calendar here, I get about, I heard 3 days, but I see more on the Monday on the 25th. To keep hope and courage, you'll get through this loss over time. It's going to take still a couple of months. I believe that by a little bit after spring, you're going to get more resolve in terms of your grief, in terms of being able to not only process, but alleviate some of that pain that you're feeling. It'll come gently, but more after April of this year. And your brother is with you sometimes that he mentions. It seems to be late at night. From what I'm seeing, it's around 9-10 p.m. So if you look at certain signs, maybe you'll see them for that time. But again, in about 3 days from now, or more precisely, I'm sensing on the Monday from what I'm looking at in terms of my calendar.
All right. Samantha, when I'm tuning in, immediately I started just sort of scribbling, and I was immediately brought to like the snow melting. So in Ottawa, that's like March, April, but that's the time that I'm drawn to for him. So that could be birth, death, or something else of significance. I'm also drawn to personality-wise. I feel like he had a huge, big heart. I feel that his method of passing, which I know you mentioned earlier, I believe you said was suicide, would have been very... I feel like it was surprising for people that is how he passed away. I feel like that's not something that people would have expected, because I feel like he had a very vibrant personality. I feel like he was genuinely and generally a very supported person by the world around him. This is going to sound very strange, but he's showing me a brain. So to me, this is talking about neurological problems or neurological issues or something like that. And all of a sudden, my last two fingers are starting to get like weird. They're starting to feel fuzzy. So to me, this is saying he may have also had a bit of a physical issue as well as something mental, emotional. He is talking about the end of his path being one that is largely misunderstood. And at the time, it was even misunderstood to him. I feel that he chose his passing to give himself peace, but I also get the feeling that he was not in a very clear space as well. And that goes beyond just emotional. I feel like this is almost neurological. I am being shown that there is nothing that could have been done to prevent or stop this passing from happening. There's also another woman, a woman there with him that I can feel, and she comes in as older than him. So this could be a mother or a grandmother vibration stepping forward. And I feel that at her end of life, she had difficulty with her breathing. I feel like I can't take a deep breath. I also feel like I'm very mentally foggy at the end of life as well. I also am very drawn to the beginning of summertime, so late spring or early summer, also in this older female's energy. And I feel like she passed away quite a long time ago. I do not feel like this is a recent passing, but I feel like Alan is there with this woman, and I'm sure other people as well. And as she steps forward, she's placing her hand over your abdominal, a little bit lower than your abdominal area, Samantha. So this is talking about healing going into that area of your body, which to me is either like lower GI or reproductive area. And I'm leaning more towards reproductive area, Samantha. So if there has had, if you've had any health issues in that part of your body, this older female energy is stepping forward to bring healing to that area. I also want to say that this older female energy has a connection with the countryside or a rural area or farming or something like that on Earth. And I get the feeling that she, again, passed away not recently. She is mentioning your mom's side of the family, and she is showing me healing happening on that side of the family over the last 5 years. I feel like everybody's been on a giant emotional roller coaster. And I very much feel that going forward over the next, 6 months or even a year, people are going to find a groundedness again. They're going to come back together. So Samantha, you're very supported, and I very much feel that things are going to move forward for you. And I'm sorry for your loss. Samantha says, yes, he had the biggest heart and always the life of the party, so everyone was very shocked. The doctor thought he could possibly have borderline personality disorder. Yeah. And then she says, that would be my nana who passed away 14 years ago, my mom's mom. All right, perfect. I'm glad you could place the information, Samantha.
I have another one here. Gabrielle Godin. Her daughter is Georgia Grace. My daughter starts speech therapy in February. Will go well for her. She starts school in September and hoping to have it resolved by then. I believe it'll be better for her over time. I'm just going to get a calendar here. Yes, especially, yeah, it'll take a couple of months from what I'm seeing. In terms of resolve, I'm not quite sure it'll be completely resolved by September, but I do see a large improvement that will enable her to feel a little bit more self-confidence and self-esteem and actually want to talk a little bit more and go forwards and being able to feel a bit more confident in terms of social interactions with others. So I would say yes to that answer, but you're going to have to give it some time. Don't push it also, as I sense you want it. I sense you not pushing her physically, but like sort of pushing her to some degree. Allow it to free flow as a child, and it'll get there. I'm going to try to see here a little bit more what else you can do for her. I'm not sure if it's just the sound pronunciation from what I can hear in her brain. I would also look at, is she able to distinctively recognize the letters when she's seeing them in terms of, I'm not sure if she's seeing them properly. I'm not sure. I don't think it's dyslexia or anything like that, but it does have a little bit of that component. So it's not just going to be the sound of the word. There's going to be some recognitions of the letters at the same time. You might want to look into that. So I hope that helps. But again, I know you're a mother and you want this to be perfect for a little girl, and that's nice. But over time, I believe she'll grow out of it over time. So that's a positive thing for you to recognize and remember.
And the only thing that I get, in addition to that, Gabrielle, is I feel like within the last 2 weeks of February, so either the second last week or the last week of February, it looks like there's going to be a concern that the program will be closed or ending or like funding will drop out or something like that. I'm being shown for you not to panic. I feel like it will sound scary, but everything is going to work out. I don't really see much of an interruption in her progress or, the program itself, but they are showing me like the last 2 weeks of February, somewhere in there, feeling like all of a sudden this will not be available anymore, and I'm being shown that it will be. So just breathe through that discomfort while they figure their things out. I think everything's going to be fine, and I do think it is going to work.
Yeah, stay focused on the outcome.
Yeah.
As we read people sometimes, we say things and certain things come up the way, and like buying a house or this, and nothing goes well, and then at the end of the day you still have the house. It's in terms of always looking, like I said, more and more she's going to get better over time, but it's her self-esteem that's going to change. That will be more powerful and empowering for her as a little girl over time. That'll help her in the future. That's more important at the same time. We have anybody else?
Yeah, I'm drawn to Sean Maltas. Let me write his name down. See what we got. So he said, I would love to know if my dad has come to terms with my sexuality since passing. So Sean, as I'm stepping into your energy, I want to talk just for a moment about the aura colors that I see around you. But you've got a lot of blue around you, Sean, and blue to me represents healing energy. And in this sense, it's not just you receiving healing. This is also you providing healing for the world around you, which is very positive. They're also showing me some red around your heart, which to me in this sort of shade of red, it represents empathic ability or feeling or sensing the emotions of other people. And I feel like this is something that you have very, very strongly on lock as a gift. And they're saying that the period of feeling overwhelmed is coming to a close. In fact, they're saying that it started to come to a close in September of 2020. So at that time, you became a little bit more grounded than you had been previously. But I feel like that groundedness will continue going forward. When I'm asking for your father to step forward, I immediately feel somebody coming in and I get a tightness in my chest. So that's usually heart or lung problems, but I also feel kind of strange in my liver area as well. So I feel like he had more than one issue happening within himself at his time of passing. I also want to say, personality wise, I think he was sort of a double-edged sword, because I feel like on one hand, he was kind of like tough, but on the other hand, I feel like he had a very loving heart. I do want to say that I feel that he holds no negative judgment about your sexuality in any way. And I also say that for two reasons. One, because I get that feeling from him directly. But the other reason is I feel that he was somebody that, I feel on one hand, he's saying, no, there's no negative thoughts around it. He's come to terms with it in spirit. But I also know that when people pass on, they're automatically okay with those things. Nobody holds those things negatively. He is talking about a woman who is alive that he was connected to on Earth. He's showing me a yellow rose and he's handing it to her. And yellow roses to me are a symbol that I use for an apology or saying he's sorry for something. When I'm asking about what he's saying sorry for, he's showing me a megaphone. So to me, this is not nice communication, or this is not giving somebody the time of day that they need. And I feel like this woman could either have been a partner to him or another female that would not be like a mother figure. It can't be somebody older than him generationally. It's somebody off to the side of him. And he's extending an apology to her because I feel like he wasn't always, super present for her. He wasn't always super there for her in the way that she felt emotionally valued and heard. So he is sending apologies or healing to the past for that. I also get the feeling with you, Sean. He says that even though you've been feeling like a little bit lost, or you're not sure which direction you're supposed to focus on in life in general right now, he says, don't worry about it. This will come in time. And he's showing me that over the next 6 months, so between now and June, let's say, or even July, 6 to 7 months, you are going to find a purpose and a path within your life. He is saying you will become excited about your path again. He's also saying that returning to education or upgrading schooling or upgrading education is something that looks like it's going to be very prominent for you within the next 2 years. So even though there's sort of this weirdness happening right now, Sean, just know that you are heading in a good direction. I think that if I can leave you with one thing, it's that this is a period where trust is very, very, very important. And trust in the sense of trusting that you have a plan, that the divinity has a plan for you, and that you haven't lost your path in any way. All right. So that's what I get from when I've asked your father to step forward, and your guides in general.
Okay, sorry, I was reading other comments for this person. What was his name again? Sorry.
Sean Maltus.
What was the question?
His question is, I would love to know if my dad has come to terms with my sexuality since his passing.
Oh, so his dad has passed away.
Yes.
Okay, just a second. The answer is yes. And okay, let me see what you just said. You said, okay, yes. So in terms of direction, I think the conflicting, yes, thank you. From my guides, from what they're hearing is that the conflicting of certain thing in terms of being accepted for you, Sean, is that as you start, yes, integrating the fact that your dad does love you, did love you, that will enable you to feel more congruent in choosing where you're coming from in the future and just getting there in terms of direction. So this will be coming more and more in the future as what Matthew just said in terms of love is integrated with you, and there's a peacefulness that will come about inside of you, and it will be able to understand your destiny and allow it to come in more openly, and that's what's going to change your life in the next couple of months.
I hope
you understood, because I have no idea what I just said. It's just gone, when you do the reading and it's just gone. So,
I want to just touch on this one really quickly. I think this will be my last reading anyway. But it says Catherine Roman's Pitchook says, "Will my son find a decent job that he will be happy with this year? He feels so lost." Yes, I feel that he will, and it's not that far from now. I would say the earliest that I see this happening is within 3 months, but I feel like it could take till September, but I don't necessarily think it's going to. In terms of him feeling lost, as I'm stepping into his energy field, Catherine, the first thing that I'm getting is that he has a lot to unload. I actually feel that even though he feels lost, he actually isn't. I just see that he's carrying a lot of like emotional weight, emotional baggage. And I want to say that this is something that will get better over time. I think he's been actively working on this within himself. And I see that this will shift. So, I think at the end of that sort of unloading and the self-healing and all of that, I feel that he could literally do any job and he won't feel lost anymore. The lostness, his guides are saying, are not a product of not having a job. It really is about the weight that he's carrying at an emotional level already.
All right. I think we're going to start to wrap it up, but I think we should wrap it up with, I know there's a lot of people worried about if things will improve in terms of obviously COVID, but more or less attitude and energy. So I think we should end it on what do we get? Because there's a lot of Americans and Canadians in here.
And some Brits. There's British people too.
Both.
Okay, so let's do the UK, Canada, and the US. And timelines on when we think these three countries will, it's like society will get better.
All three?
Ooh. All right. Are we doing the thing where we write them down separately?
Paper?
Show it.
We're doing the paper.
Are we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sure.
Let's do it.
Because it's Canada, US,
three countries. Okay.
All right, 3 papers then.
Okay.
So we'll do it in that order: Canada, then the US, then the UK.
Oh, I thought we'd do all three for 1 month, which has all three in it. That's even more challenging.
Yeah, let's not do that.
So we're gonna do what, Canada?
Yeah, because that could be like 400 years from now, LA. So Canada,
I'd say
then the US.
like June.
So when things will start to get better.
But that's unspecific.
When the morale of the country will be like
better. Okay.
Better.
Like really good.
I see for the US was January 20th.
Why are you saying dates?
No, it's a joke, meaning, it's a new president. No offense. Okay. The morale. Okay.
Yeah. So like a good morale boost. Ready?
No, wait a minute.
Fuck, I came up quick.
The planet is huge, man.
I'm talking about Canada.
Oh, Canada. I'm writing. Okay. All right. Okay.
Do Canada, and then we'll take a second, and then we'll do the States, and then we'll take a second, and then we'll do the UK.
Okay. Well, I did.
Wait, I sense it's going to get better. Then I sent. Okay. You mean,
cool. We want to go.
If I sent something down, do I say after the down or until it's down?
Shit. Okay.
It's always going to be up and down. When will people feel like shit is better?
Better? Yeah. Okay. But then, okay.
You ready?
This is complicated. Okay. 1,
2, 3.
Ooh, Matt and I are close.
We are.
We always usually are.
June at first, but for me, 3-4 months will be better. But I do sense something not good in April. So
yeah, but I'm thinking of when June. Things will just like start continuously on the
country. I'd say,
and I'm saying August. August in Canada, the positivity will continue to just get better, and we won't have any more dips.
I agree.
All right, no more dips.
Let's do the US.
Okay.
Sorry.
I don't like what I'm seeing.
We're just like,
Okay. Okay, let's be clear on the question. What was the last one? You said it's going up and it stays nice.
Do we want to skip? Would you want to put the US for last and go with the UK?
Maybe not.
No. There's people from the US here. You're scaring the hell out of them.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to think of how I
For
could.
July, August, and when? June. I say June. I think
What are
it's
you
gonna
talking
get
about right now?
there. I'm answering one of the person here, Jenna Lee T.
For what?
Okay, summer. Okay.
For who? For
Okay,
what?
so for the US, are we doing US now or what?
Hold on.
Okay.
I'm confused with what I'm not sure. Yeah.
Oof. Okay.
This one's a tough
Are
one.
you writing a book?
It is. I'm gonna have to do an explanation with what I saw.
Same, because like I don't even know if what like I just scribbled on here make fucking sense. So, all right. 3.
1, 2.
Wait. I didn't write it.
Well, write
Oh my-
it.
Where have you been?
Okay.
Hang on.
I
I
would
don't-
say after November.
I kept scribbling because he's
What's
still
that, Matt?
alive.
Like a symbol for another planet?
It's a no, is what it is. It's
Okay.
not a when, it's a no. But I want to explain what I'm seeing because that would scare the shit out of me.
I couldn't pick it up on this year, so I went all the way to November. But
I progressed 10 years, right? I
wow.
did 10 years. And in 10 years, I did not see it happening as a whole. However, what I did see is that over time, and it will start within 3 years, over time, people as individuals will find their groove and their happiness, and then as communities, they will. I feel like our current reference points for the US, what it is now and what it will be when everybody feels like it's in a good space, are two different places. It's not the same place at all. And so I cannot even look at it, progress it into the future from what it is now.
I'd say
It's
2
going to
years.
happen. It's going to happen slowly over time. In 3 years, I see that is when things will begin to move forward within that time frame. And then, but I do feel like it's going to be a considerable amount of time. I'm going to go to the 20 to 25 years before people are feeling a sense of real like togetherness again. That's what I see.
Yeah, mine. I just
cheated.
kept seeing this.
Yeah, that's normal.
Yeah.
Like,
But me, I just looked inside Joe
and
Biden.
divide. That's why I written down divide, and it's
Yeah, that'll stay for a while. But Joe
like
Biden, from
something-
what I can read from him, is about 2 years.
June and September stick out though. So, I don't really know what that means, but it was just too much.
Yeah.
I know the answer. The answer is people have to consciously decided to choose it for themselves.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Agreed.
There you go. Doesn't
All right,
matter which
so far,
country
Canada
you're
was
in.
easiest to read.
You know.
Okay, so we'll do the UK.
All right. I already wrote it down.
Oh, I didn't.
Okay, let me read the Queen. Okay.
All right. I'm ready when you guys are.
Dum, 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 dum. Just so people know, I'll wait till you say. I'll explain something after.
All right. Ready?
3.
1,
2.
2, 3.
Oh wait, where's my book? There we go. UK. There we go. There we go. Me and Matt are lined up pretty good. Again.
Okay. Cool. Nice.
So yeah,
Wow, cute.
actually the UK one was Canada was the lightest. UK was a smidge heavier, but not by much. The US is it's gonna take some work. Yeah.
I see they believe in progress from, I'm reading the Queen here. In July, there seems to be progress, or she's starting to see the end of the tunnel, I think, or that it's possible. But until then, I wanted to mention to people, like I started mentioning to my own clients, I think April is going to be rocky. in terms of finance and other things, I think April is yeah. So
I should ask you, do you think I'm going to be going to the Euro Cup in June in Budapest?
No.
I wouldn't go.
I do not.
God damn it, Matthew.
I wouldn't do that.
Sorry.
I want to see Cristiano Ronaldo play for Portugal.
Why don't you take a trip to Chernobyl while you're at it? Just
maybe I will.
see the environment. You can play soccer there. You'll
You know
probably
how hard it is to
get
get
less
tickets for Euro
exposure.
Cup? You guys don't watch sports. You know how hard it is to get tickets for Euro Cup?
You know how easy it is to get the
winning
news
the
straight
lottery.
coronavirus.
It was winning the lottery.
Guys, we got to wrap up because I got to go.
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
It's almost 3:30.
So, on that note, I'm going to go and pray to all heavenly everything that I go to the Euro Cup in June because you guys are haters. Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. We will see you next week.
Take care. Bye.
Have a good one. Thank
Bye.
you.